Hello. Hello. It has been a while since I've done one of these. Hey there. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dan Martin. I'm a gym owner and a fitness professional and have been since 2007. Um, I own Fit 305 down in Miami. I'm the current head coach here at Fit 262. I also do a ton of online stuff with people all over the place. The very simple topic that I'm going to talk about today is kind of, I guess it could be controversial. Maybe it shouldn't be, but like in the fitness world, it could be considered slightly controversial. But again, it shouldn't be. And it's the fact that as a human being, you need aerobic conditioning. And when I'm saying aerobic conditioning, I'm talking about something very specific to co-host. Um, so yeah, fitness in general is about thriving in your natural environment, right? It's about thriving in your environment, and that's different than getting by or winning gold medals, right? Two sides of the scale. If you're like a full-time mom, if you're a banker, if you're an engineer, a construction worker, you're generally going to be living your best life, the happiest, if you perform the best when you are healthy, really healthy. Things like nagging injuries and such are not indicative of health or an effective exercise regimen for that matter. It's my position that currently perhaps underused cardiorespiratory endurance training is the foundation of long-term health and wellness and ultimately fitness. Now, that doesn't mean that you're on a treadmill for an hour walking, staring at a television. It can come in many different forms. Um, Likewise, it's a belief of mine that high intensity exercise is definitely effective at creating athletic adaptations in certain cycles of training, but we're not always after athletic adaptations, right? So constant high intensity, it's like used in manufacturing, right? It's called a stress test. And the goal of a stress test is generally to find when something will break. Likewise, exercising continuously at high intensity is the perfect method to find out when you will break. And we don't want to break you. We want you to be happy, healthy, have a nice life, long life. Um, and like I definitely respect and enjoy watching people that push the limits of human performance. Things like Usain Bolt's 100-meter world record, Roger Bannister's sub 4 mile. Recently, Sonita Mula squatted 701 pounds, the first time a woman has ever done that. Um, Michael Phelps, 18 Olympic medals, even stuff like Barry Bonds, 73 home runs in a season, and Lance Armstrong's um, 7 Tour de France victories. They're all amazing, amazing athletic achievements. And these athletes would do absolutely anything, whatever it took to break all records or die trying. But you and me probably aren't trying to die. We're trying to live longer, fuller lives. So, how? Well, for me, fitness is about, again, surviving and thriving in your natural environment. Generally, for most people, the greatest danger you and are going to face is cardiovascular disease. Statistically, it is most likely to be your cause of death. If fitness is about surviving and thriving in your environment, we must first prioritize training methods in order to prevent preventable disease and to live longer, live better, stay upright, all that good stuff. Um, Aerobic conditioning to me has advantages over anaerobic work as it can increase physical endurance and lifespan. And also, you can recover quickly, more quickly than you would with a super high intensity anaerobic bout. Like you might wake up Tuesday or Wednesday and feel pretty good even after high intensity stuff if you've been doing it for a long time, but you're not necessarily going to be able to come back and hit again at full force. You're going to always have that diminishing return. Whereas with like recovery between bouts of aerobic exercise, it's easier and faster than anaerobic. During aerobic training, the aim is just to improve blood flow to the lungs, heart, and blood vessels. Aerobic conditioning, it's a process where the heart and lungs are trained to pump blood more efficiently, allowing more oxygen to be delivered to the muscles and organs. Little more of the science stuff behind it. Efforts below 85% max effort are considered aerobic, while anaerobic is considered anywhere above 85% maximum heart rate. The majority of favorable adaptations come between 60 and 80% of max heart rate. Didn't say all, said the majority. You want any? Okay. So faster is not always better. As long as you get your heart rate into our target range that we talked about, 60 to 80%, 70 being kind of ideal. Whether you're running a 12-minute mile or a 6-minute mile, it's going to produce approximately the same aerobic and caloric effect. Generally, a minimum of 4 weeks is required to build an aerobic base. For those of us who have trained hard for some time, doing these sessions can and probably will seem boring and mundane. However, if you try this, I think the results from doing these sessions will replace the creeping thoughts of boredom. You can figure out ways to make them more exciting, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Um, So for me, I encourage people to wear some sort of heart rate monitor, whether it's on your wrist or on your chest. Chest is a little more accurate, but the wrist can do a good job. The heart rate monitor, it helps you more accurately and truly measure your level of exertion. This will be your most effective path to aerobic fitness, much better than using like an RPE scale or just kind of guessing, like I'm going kind of hard, or maybe this is 70%. I don't know. Eventually, you'll be able to feel it, but a lot of times people need to wear that band in order to kind of really know where they're at. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, just get one. There's a lot of cheap models out there. Again, the chest strap Garmin's and Polars are great. My zones are awesome. I've used those for a long time. Until then, you can use a three-level scale that I give to all my clients for this kind of training. But again, you want to get that heart rate monitor. It's going to be really helpful for this kind of training. And I'll get into the exact plan and lay it out. And if you want me to just send you a text document of kind of what I'm talking about today that includes the program, just send me a message and I'll send it to you. Easy peasy. So the three levels, if you don't have a heart rate strap, are level one, talking pace. And these can kind of dial you into the level of exertion you'll do. You can hold a conversation while doing this, whether you're running, rowing, biking, doing whatever, kettlebell swings. You're able to talk in complete sentences. So for most people, talking pace is considered zone one or zone two. You've probably heard about the zones a little bit. It's approximately 50 to 75% of your max heart rate. This is used generally for recovery work or LSD, not that kind. No, dude, long, slow distance. And for weight loss, it's pretty effective, pretty damn effective for weight loss. Um, it has the lowest impact physiologically, right? So your central nervous system is going to be able to recover quicker from this. Um, and you're not going to feel like absolutely hammered after doing a bout of exercise at 70-ish% of your max heart rate. Um, these workouts could be performed nearly every day without overtraining or injury, generally, for most people. Now, if running doesn't feel great to you, obviously you're going to do something else, bike, jump rope, whatever. So that's level one, your talking pace. Level two is race pace. You're able to maintain this pace for a long time, but not able to hold a conversation. Like 5 minutes in, someone's trying to talk to you, it's not going to be working out. You can say a word or two, but you're unable to really speak in complete sentences after a while unless you would just stop doing it. Race pace is generally considered to be between 75 to 85% of your max heart rate, or zone three and four. Uh, Again, this would be considered a race pace. You cannot comfortably speak. But you can keep this pace for a duration of say 5 to 10K running, rowing, biking. Biking would be double distance, but you get the point. So level one is talking pace, level two race pace, level three would be kind of the burn, right? That's anaerobic. You literally feel your muscles begin to burn, heart and lungs are kind of burning. You're unable to speak without slowing your effort down. It's when you've surpassed 85% of maximum heart rate. You're now performing the majority of metabolism through the anaerobic energy systems. You literally feel your muscles burning, and you can't keep this type of effort up for more than 2 minutes without an extraordinary mental effort. And of course, this will vary based on training. You'll have people that couldn't do this for 30 seconds because they're detrained, and you'll have people who could do it for 5 seconds because, or sorry, 5 minutes because they're genetic freaks and they're able to just keep no matter what. Um, so again, those three levels are just for heart rate monitoring, just so you kind of know where you're at. So again, for aerobic conditioning like we're talking about, you're able to talk. We're able to hold a conversation while we're riding bikes together or jogging together. Doesn't mean you have to, but you would be able to. In order to exercise in the most effective possible way, in my opinion, at this point in my life, the best program will consist of a large part of work in the 60 to 80% heart rate range with smaller, shorter bursts and specific sessions near those higher ranges in that 85% and up range. These these bursts, like again, are gonna generally be 2 minutes ish. Can be intervals. You can redo them. You can do 1 to 1 work to rest, 1 to 2, 2 to 1. There's all different formulas you can do, but you're not going to be able to sustain that continually, right? And again, volume and intensity should be tightly controlled when you're doing anaerobic efforts so that overtraining is kept in check. If you're not familiar with overtraining, it's associated with persistent fatigue, decreased performance, prolonged muscle soreness, poor sleep and recovery, and even starting to get sick after a while. Like you'll see people that can't get over a cold because they're just hammering high intensity volume. Um, so it's it's one of those things you want to stay away from. Some people get used to living detrained or sorry, overtrained, and definitely not a good thing. I think even young, or more specifically, younger people are more susceptible to it and just thinking that it's normal when in fact it's not and shouldn't be. In some protocols and some training systems, it can be, but it definitely should not be. Right. Um, if you've never done it, I really encourage you to spend some time working on your endurance and see how it affects other training and activity, just general life stuff too. Um, Spend a month doing 3 sessions a week of lower intensity. You can still lift, and there's no rule that says what type of training or movement you have to do. It doesn't need to be boring treadmill efforts. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. It can be a mix of body weight, kettlebells, dumbbells, jump rope, hitting the bag. The possibilities are really endless. You're only really limited by your heart rate. Um, you can still do higher intensity on other days and still see the payout from those sessions, but you just don't need or really want to do those repeated high intensity efforts back to back to back to back 5, 6 days a week. Um, the general formula now for max heart rate is 220 minus your age. You may have already heard this. That's really going to vary depending on your training and your training age and your background and your genetics. All that stuff plays a part, as well. Health history and even like recovery state on the day of your training. If you went hard the day before, um, your heart rate, there's variability built in there. For an average Joe or Jane that's 50 years old, their hypothetical max then is going to be 170, and percentages would be based off of that 170. um, 70% max heart rate is usually considered the sweet spot for aerobic training, fat burning. I even remember biking out, um, Shark Valley, south of Miami. And I was trying to get better at triathlon, and I just stopped a guy who was obviously very good. And I was like, "Hey, man, what's your secret?" And he's like, 70%. I was like, He's like 70% heart rate. and that's it. And that was like the best pro tip that he could have given me. And here I am, 15, 20 years later, talking about this exact same thing. Um, so that's that sweet spot for aerobic training. And 40 minutes is thought to be an ideal time to drive adaptation. If you have more time, great. Like I was talking to a gym client here who is a former professional cyclist. Shout out Matt Green, and he was saying in his professional cycling days they would do 80 to 90% of their work at that 70% heart rate. Now, he also mentioned that training protocols have changed somewhat, but it's still a majority of their training is in that low heart rate, and now they're going even lower to drive adaptation. But for most of us, 70% is going to be great. Um, though you can definitely increase that time over time if you're into that. So the plan in general for a 50-year-old looking to gain aerobic fitness, or a 40-year-old, 30-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, um, again, you're going to adjust heart rate to your age. I'm going to use these numbers based off of that easy 50. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, any 3-day split, really, as long as you're getting 24 hours at least between sessions, you're going to do 10 minutes of easy ramp up, getting your heart rate to that 120. You might be able to get it there faster, but you don't have to. You don't need to sprint to get there. We're slowly ramping up. And then for 20 plus minutes, you're going to maintain that heart rate, try and stay in that sweet spot. You might need to slow down from what you're used to. And once you hit about a half hour or so, you'll spend the last 10 minutes bringing it back down, slowing it down. Again, for a lot of people that are used to high intensity exercise, this is going to be difficult. But if you learn to do it, it is a huge tool in your fitness toolbox. Um, so you'll do that 3 times a week for 4 weeks and just see what it does. But again, this doesn't have to be done an exact specific way. It doesn't need to be a bike or a ski or a rower. It's not more. It is all about the heart rate. You can even do this after a lift. Like I'll do stuff like this a lot of times after hitting 5 sets of 5 on the bench press with substantial rest, or I might do a circuit of 4 lower body movements, right? I might do a sumo deadlift and a Bulgarian split squat, and a glute loaded step down, and I don't know what a kettlebell swing for the hammies. Might do 4 sets of 10 of that, catch breath, bring the heart rate all the way down, and then start on this again. Um, but you can also do this as a workout by itself. You don't have to lift before. You can just start biking. You can start jogging, rowing, skiing, echo bike, jump rope, walk, put on your favorite mix and dance around the house. You can get your heart rate up dancing. Trust me. Um, and you're gonna see those benefits when you hit that 70%. Um, again, for those that are used to daily hard efforts, this is going to be difficult to do. You're used to a higher level of exertion, and you're used to getting that quick hit of dopamine. You will get the dopamine with this type of workout. It's just going to be slower release. And in my opinion, it lasts a little longer. Um, you're not going to feel that worn out feeling necessarily. You're not going to lay on the floor, and that's okay. Pick a day or two each week where you're going to do that if you like that, and push it hard. And then on the days in between, pull it back and see what this 70% effort does for you and your fitness. Um, yeah. And be patient with it. Put the 4 weeks in. 3 sessions in 4 weeks is only 12 sessions. If you can push it to 6 or 8 weeks, even better. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the adaptations that occur when you do this. Again, if you are looking, if you want this written down, I do have most of this in a document, and it's clearly laid out, and I can send it to you. Just DM me or email me or whatever. Find me, reach out, and I'll send it to you. If you have any questions immediately, let's see. You're a genetic freak and you're not normal. Heck yeah. All right. That's it. Again, questions, reach out, and I'll be more than happy to shoot the breeze with you about it. Enjoy the rest of your day.